All right, welcome back, everyone. The True Strength podcast. We've got your coaches here. We have Coach Tanner, Coach Scott, Coach Taylor, and we have a special guest. We have Andrew Sendejo on the show, a guy who he went drafted out of Rice University and turned that into a 12-year NFL career as safety. He played for the Vikings, the Eagles, the Browns, and Colts. Over 500 tackles, 9 interceptions, and a run to the NFC Championship with Minnesota in 2017. To have an NFL career like that, you obviously have to have a crazy work ethic and grit. And hopefully Andrew can share a bit of that. So welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. What's up?
Not much.
What's up, Andy, man?
Yeah,
It's really good. You're our inaugural guest on this podcast. That was basically John's idea that we've been meaning to do for a long time. So,
well, it's an honor to be here with everybody.
yeah, well, dude, the honor is ours. Appreciate
Definitely.
it.
Well, and I think John said drafted out of Rice, but
No, I said undrafted.
Undrafted.
Man, because I don't know if you want to touch on it, Andrew, but Andrew's journey to make it to the NFL, it's pretty incredible.
I'd
Dude,
love to hear it.
Really quickly, Andrew, I'll let you do it, but just a quick little intro. I've known Andrew since I was like 19 years old, and I've never met a guy that I admired or probably respected more. And we can go into that, but basically freaking just a all around badass person. So, Andrew, why don't you tell us everyone how you were brought up? Is that cool? Like you can just go off it, man.
Well, I'll run through. Like I grew up playing a lot of sports. I was a soccer player growing up. I thought for sure I was going to go to the MLS. I tried to drop out of school in like 6th grade to play soccer full time. I was like, hey, Dad, if you don't let me drop out of school, like I'll never make it to the Premier League. Like that's all they do. They just play soccer all day. And he said no. And I was like, well, you're a fucking idiot. And so growing up in South Texas, you don't have a choice but to play football at some point. I was very fortunate that I went to a high school where football was king, had a very good program. It was definitely like the foundation of my football career, made me who I am today. I would definitely not be where I'm at today without my high school football program. It took over my life. I literally lived the Friday Night Lights life. It was kind of my path to get school paid for. That was really my only goal. Is like, I just want to get a scholarship. I can't afford school. Like this is my ticket out, so to speak. It was the first person in my family to go to college and to get it paid for. So like just right there, I'd already kind of checked a box that a lot of people in my family, nobody in my family had done. So I'd already felt kind of accomplished at that point. And then, I was just very fortunate. There's a lot of things that have to line up and work out your way, along with all kind of the hard work, dedication, grit, all that stuff. But when I got to Rice, like a guy got injured, I was prepared, I was ready. I got to come in and play, and then earned the starting job as a true freshman. So luckily for me, my time at Rice, I just had a lot of game tape. Wasn't necessarily like probably even going to get drafted. I was just hoping to even have a shot. I went to college thinking I was going to be an engineer. That didn't happen. I was a sport management major. And, you don't really, you can compare yourself to your peers and guys, on your team or in your conference, but you don't really know how you stack up against, some of the elite guys around college football. But probably until maybe my spring semester going in my senior year, you start having some scouts and things come to look at you and you're like, oh shit, maybe I am good enough. Got hurt my senior year. At that point, I was kind of like, dude, if I just even get a tryout with the team, I'd be happy, you've probably all experienced this where you see someone doing something, you're like, I can definitely do that. Or if not, I can do it better. And I went undrafted. I went to 2 rookie minicamp tryouts, didn't get signed. So I went and signed with the UFL team, the Sacramento Mountain Lions. was a new league. They were just getting started. They hadn't really figured everything out, but it was kind of the best place to play at the time versus going to Canada. It was all NFL coaches, NFL schemes, and kind of your path into getting in the NFL. And so I went and played for the Sacramento Mountain Lions. Was fortunate enough to have, a good 8-game season there, got picked up out of there, and then did the whole like get cut, get cut, get cut until I finally made a team. So like I was all over the place, but I think just throughout the time it was you would be competing against guys that came from a big school or were drafted or whatnot, and you'd see them making mistakes or not making plays that you just knew you could play. And it just always gave you confidence to kind of keep going. And I just kind of kept stacking that. You have to have a few things go your way. And, I was just fortunate to be in a system in the NFL that also was in my favor, and all those things aligned, and I was able to play 12 years, and here I am.
Oh yeah.
It's incredible.
And I kind of want to touch on his training in the off season.
Yeah.
He used to go out in the hottest part of the day. So this is the summer where you get like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months off in the summer. He would look on the weather and see when it was the hottest. And then he'd go out there, put on a helmet, and then hit the sprints hard. I was always impressed by that.
I think part of it was going to training camp in Minnesota. They thought it was hot at like 85 degrees. And so down in Texas, training at, 102, and then on the track, it's even hotter. And then with your helmet on. So I would just try to simulate and make everything as hard as possible to where when I got to training camp, I was just, I knew being in shape was not going to be a thing, right? Like that was kind of my separator. How am I going to differentiate myself? Was like, well, I have to be in like really good shape because I'm not as athletic as these guys. So I have to be able to go harder for longer. I can't be injured ever. And so a lot of that was just in the training. And I just fucking love training. Like I've been training since I was a kid. Like I would time myself in the mile. I made my dad build me a pull-up bar when I was like in 6th grade, like shit like that. So like I never looked at weight training or the workouts or anything as like, oh man, I gotta go run. I just like genuinely fucking like to do it. Like it's fun to me, so that actually came easy. And I just knew as a kind of an undrafted guy, you're disposable and like you have to make yourself stand out. So I was like, well, I just need to be able to go as hard as I can all the time to where I can just stand out. That was really part of it too.
John, you want to jump in, or Taylor?
Well, I mean, I'll ask a question because, you with that long of a career, did you always have like a personal strength coach? Did you do the programming training on your own? How did that work?
I had a few strength coaches or off-season coaches, but I did have a stretch where I just trained on my own, like completely by myself. Like I'd meet up with Scott, we would train together. A lot of times I'd follow just the manual they would give me, and then any kind of specific areas where I felt like I needed to improve or just what I knew I could do. At that point, man, you've gone through so many like college workouts and different things. Like you kind of know the benchmarks for, okay, I need to be able to hit this to be in shape. I need to be this strong so that I don't get injured. And just making sure I could hit that every year. And then just doing the workouts that you don't like to do. Like that's what I would pick every now and then. Like, I'm like, man, I fucking hate that running workout. It's like, well, then we're going to do it. And so, cause that's what happens in training camp. Like the coaches have the script for the day and they put a drill or like a certain period that you just fucking hate and you have to do it. So that was part of the training too. But, I think a lot of guys, as I kind of progressed through the NFL, you started to see, you still see it today, a lot of injuries. And I think a lot of it is just due to the lack of off-season training. A lot of guys are getting away from like what made them good and strength training, and they're doing all this fancy bullshit. And then you just see guys like just blowing Achilles and hamstrings and things all left and right because they're not acclimating themselves to like what type of conditions they're going to be experiencing in practice or in a game. So That was part of. I was looked at training, strength training, conditioning, all that as like injury prevention / like this is gonna make me money.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I was going to say too, and we talked about it this morning. Once you get to the NFL, these guys, they're not stronger than the college players. They're just more experienced. They just know what to do, where to be, and more than anything, you touched on it, they stay healthy. They're just able to recover,
Bro, I
And-
realized I started like, because I even kind of got, you kind of get in the trap of the NFL trap where like, it's like, oh, just don't do anything to hurt yourself and like, yada, yada, yada. And that's what actually hurts yourself is you start getting weaker. You start getting more soft tissue stuff. Those all compound. But later in my career, I was around a bunch of super vets and they all practiced hard. They all lifted heavy and they were never hurt. And I was like, okay, fuck, maybe that is the secret is like these guys can actually handle this type of load, and like under these conditions. And so I started training heavy later in my career. No like I only missed games for concussions or COVID. That was it. Like I had no soft tissue, no nothing. I was a full-time starter and I played at least 2 phases of special teams. So I was getting more miles than anybody, like more reps than anybody. And I was the oldest fucking guy on the team. So
That's unreal.
Bro, I want to, and I know it's like just like fast forward immediately to your NFL career.
yeah.
And I mean, obviously, me and Scott, we met you when, our freshman year. And I remember me and Scott, we immediately bonded over working out. We just loved working out. Like, basically, I was the same guy as Scott. It's just like 4 inches shorter and, 50 pounds lighter. But I vividly remember, like, dude, you were always probably the fittest dude on the team. That's like, and you were always like first in all the conditioning drills, always like lifting the heaviest. Bro, you were stronger than most of the linebackers. You just were. Did that work ethic, did you develop that? Was that in high school? Did your parents instill that into you? Or did that kind of come about in college with your strength coaches? Like, where did you get that mindset and your work ethic?
I think it's probably a little bit of, I think people kind of innately have a little bit of that, but then also kind of going back to my high school days, that kind of foundation. I mean, it was as far as like our training, we had, a full-time strength and conditioning coach like back in '04. Like this was like early. So I learned what a real like college level workout was like. And I just had a bunch of old school, like military style high school coaches that we were clean shaven. Yes sir, no sir. All of our workouts were super competitive. They just kind of almost brainwashed us into this like mentality of like trying hard is actually what's cool versus, there's a lot of people out there like are too cool to try hard. And so, like we didn't really care about, I guess, trying too hard and making us not look cool. So I think that was part of it too. Obviously, going to Rice and having Gansey as our strength coach just took that up like a whole nother level of what being in shape really meant and what training really meant. So I think it's just a combination of all those things together before you realize kind of what type of time and effort and energy goes into the training that can then translate into the field.
Andrew, real quick, just in all that, sorry, I'm jumping in, but what are your all-time like PR lifts, just to give everyone kind of context, like bench press, power clean, back squat, like what kind of numbers were you hitting in college?
It was a 350 bench, 350 clean, 550 back squat. We didn't do like deadlifts really for.
No, we didn't. Not that I remember.
I feel like power clean was where I felt like I was very strong at. But yeah, I think, just the other part of that was as a freshman, Luckily I was playing, so like I was automatically in like the group with kind of the upperclassmen. So I was lifting with guys that were like fucking 23 years old and I was 18. So just like you always talk about, Tanner, of like lifting with guys that are stronger with you, I was getting fucking destroyed in 6 a.m. workouts because I'm lifting with all the upperclassmen who are way stronger than me. And if I didn't finish my set or hit my weights, like Yancey would just make me redo them. So I was just lifting so many weights during that time. And then I got super fucking strong and jacked.
Dude, I think, yeah, we all did. And Taylor, I kind of want to know about, because Taylor played D1 at South Carolina. All right. Taylor, you were played running back, correct?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And so, like, dude, what was your college experience like going into training as a freshman? I mean, what were your all time numbers? I know John's put up some very respectable numbers too.
So I was, to be fair, I was pretty similar to Andrew. Like, but I was way bigger, man. So when I showed up to college, I was 17 years old. I had to get my parents to like sign off on my scholarship and stuff like that because I was probably like the youngest dude on the team. So I showed up with every plan to like redshirt, right? But then Coach Spurrier was like, "Hey, we might need you to play." And so with that, kind of, I jumped straight into workouts with dudes who were 21, 22 years old. Right. And even though I might have looked rather similar, I was still, a 17-year-old kid. And that was like an intro to like, okay, there's some levels to this, right? Because I grew up playing football in Georgia, which was hyper competitive. And we were a bunch of little white kids out in the country at before a high school that kind of our coaches instilled in us that the only way we can compete with like, Tucker and Marist and all these, inner city Atlanta teams were we need to do work off the field and develop our strength and our power and our endurance and stuff like that. So that kind of is what instilled the work ethic in me to get to the level that I got to when I got to South Carolina. But when I got there, man, you have no choice but to either step up or fall by the wayside, man. And all kinds of people drop off because either they don't have the work ethic, they don't have the toughness, or they're just kind of like not ready for it. But I was really fortunate, had some, like you say, old school strength coaches, super militants, like shut up, nobody cares, do the work. All right. But when you have like a good group of people and everybody's doing it, you just kind of get swept into it. But for me, man, I think after I got hurt and ended up redshirting. So after like about 2 months of working out, like I got shifted into like the redshirt program. And that was kind of, I guess, helpful because you get to focus on just your strength and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to learn the playbook and be immersed in team meetings and stuff like that. But I remember I showed up at 185 pounds. And at the end of my redshirt year, I was about 204 pounds. Right. And then by my junior year, I was up to like 220. And still like 13% body fat. But when I was at my prime, I was much bigger and I was back squatting, I think about 535. My clean was about, I think probably around 350. And my bench press, my all-time bench press though was, I think I never got 400 pounds. I think I got close to it. I think I was like at, 390 or something like that. But yeah, man, that was a good time.
Serious weight.
Yeah. And I want to talk about that a little bit, but John, Scott or John, you guys have any questions you want to ask Andrew?
Well, we talked about this a couple podcasts ago, but we talked about the biggest animals we've ever trained with. So I'm curious, in your career, who was there that really stood out where you were like, that guy was just a freak? Because I think we've all come across him.
All your years in the league, Andrew, who was like the biggest freak?
Freaks, probably like, they were freaks. I didn't necessarily get to see them like really train in the off season, which is kind of weird. Like, in NFL, like everyone's off wherever they go for the off season. But like, as far as like just overall freaks, like Myles Garrett is an absolute freak. Adrian Peterson was a very strong individual. Like even in season workouts, he could just rep out just crazy amounts of weight. A lot of the defensive ends, I feel like, Scott, you can attest to this. Like a lot of defensive ends are just this combination of size and speed and strength it doesn't make sense how someone could be that big and that strong and still run that fast without their body just exploding. It literally doesn't add up. But we had a defensive end. His name was Everson Griffin. He was so fast that he was a gunner on punt.
Jesus, I didn't know that. He's huge too, right?
a corner, they put a corner and safety out there. They call it a vice to try to block them. You have this defensive end who like would just sprint down the field and go make the tackle. And it was insane to see. And that was like early in my career. And there were times I see guys like that and I was think, man, I have no business being in this league right now. Like this is the types of guys that run around in this league. Like, no thanks.
So like what made you successful in the NFL? Because, right, you played 12 years in the NFL. Like the average career in the NFL, what is it, 2 years, guys? You're telling
2
me
years,
it's like 2 years?
2 years last time I heard.
Dude, it's insane. Dude, to play 12 years.
Different numbers, like,
Yeah.
something like that. But we were talking about this morning, actually, is like a lot of guys don't get cut from the NFL because they're not athletic enough. Sometimes it's injuries, just bad time. They get injured, can't make the team, can't make the club if you're in the tub, whatever that saying is. But I say a lot of guys don't make the team because of the mental side. Like they're not prepared. They don't know the playbook. They're making a lot of mental errors. They just don't know the schemes, kind of a lot to handle. And I would say that gets guys cut and not be able to last faster than anything. Like I said, a lot of guys, they can all run, jump, catch the ball, all those things, but it doesn't really matter if you don't know what to do. And then I would say like a lot of guys, they don't do it in practice. So you have to build this level of trust in practice and in the meetings. So when you're in meetings, being attentive, when coach calls on you, responding right away with an answer, yes, sir, no, sir, like you're early to meetings, you're just on your shit, right? So you build that level of trust to where the coaches know, like every time I've called on this kid, like he has the right answer and he has it right away because it needs to be fast. You don't have time in a game to sit there and think about what the check is. And then doing it in practice, like consistently over and over. If you can't do that, they're never going to push you in the game. And at that level, that's not like high school or college where you can just turn it on game day. There's maybe a few guys that can do that in the league, but not really. And so I think just being that guy that could go hard all the time in practice, proving it in practice, and then just the mental side of the game, memorizing the playbook, knowing what I'm supposed to do, knowing what other guys are supposed to do so that if there was injuries, I could step in as the nickel or the dime or the other safety. And to where you make yourself so valuable that they're like, we literally can't get rid of this guy because if this guy gets hurt, we can use him here. If this guy gets hurt, we can use him here. Oh, he can play special teams. He can play defense. Like you have all these different roles. Same as like a business, like you have someone that can do so many jobs in your business. You're not going to fire that person. And I started to kind of realize that in like throughout my career is like, okay, like if I need to, I'll go back and catch punts. And like, so I'd go out there with the punt returners because I returned punts in college. So like, just to add one more thing on the resume of like, hey, if everyone got hurt, I'll go back there and fucking catch the punt if we have to. Like, I'm not going to probably return it, but I'll fair catch it and we'll be all right.
Yeah, just making yourself as valuable as possible.
Andrew?
What?
Couldn't you kick too, like a field goal?
I was recruited as a kicker.
Yeah.
Wait, are you being serious right now?
Yeah. Like I would only do field goals 40 plus in high school. Cause like my leg was really strong, but I wasn't very accurate. So I would do all the kickoffs. So I would just kick them out of the end zone so that, in high school, you're on that like 2-inch tee and the balls are all like really old and broken in. So I could just boot the fuck out of the ball out of the end zone. So like a lot of colleges, when they're watching the tape, they're like, damn, this guy's got a leg. And then the only field goals I only had 3 field goals and like I made 2 of the 3. So I kicked like 1 field goal a year. So my like percentage was pretty good overall. And then I think there was one game where it was when Hurricane Katrina was making landfall, and we had like a crazy windy game, but I don't think we had the flags on the goalpost, so you couldn't see that I was kicking with the wind. And I can't remember what college it was. They were watching the tape, and I had probably like a 30-mile-an-hour wind in my back or something crazy, and the ball went like literally all the way to the track, like on the back. And so they thought that was just like how strong my leg was. And they're like, yeah, you can come kick here too if you want. Like we'll bring you on as a kicker. And so yeah, like that was probably another part of my game that I would try to relay to the special teams coordinators when I played. I was like, I can kick too if you ever need me, like for like a surprise onside or something. And they're like, oh, we've heard that shit like so many times. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like I can actually kick it. Like watch.
Yeah,
dude. I think I remember you kicking some balls at Rice, like as like one of our backup field goal kickers. Yeah,
they were trying to like do something where I would kick and then cover down as a unblocked man.
yeah.
But like at that point, I'd gotten so far away from kicking, like I literally was not as good as like our college kickers. Like those guys had like legit fucking legs. So
Yeah, for sure.
All they
and
do.
I kind of want to just take this. Sorry, just to make it more applicable to our audience, and where it's like more like a strength and conditioning audience. I kind of want to know, Andrew, like how did your training, has it changed or has it evolved much from college, then into the pros, and then now that you're done playing, like what does your training look like now, and why are you training? I think that's something like, bro, how can guys that are 35 to 50 years old, like how do you think those guys should be training?
And you might as well touch on your current training environment too.
Yeah. I think like training to where like training just like you used to, like you might not be able to hit the same weights, but you can definitely like progress into those. But the further you get away from doing a lot of those exercises, that's what getting old and frail actually is like you haven't done it in so long, you can't get back into it because you're going to get hurt. And so, for me, it's like sticking with the basic movement patterns that I replicate every day, picking up my daughter out of her crib or just like carrying groceries or whatever the fuck it is. And not really overcomplicating it. I think it's a very like overcomplicated industry. Like we got all this bullshit. People are like, like I always say to you guys in the morning, like you just go in there and pick them up and put them down. And that's
it, dude.
That's really it, man. It's pretty simple on paper. You just got to go do it. But, obviously in college, a lot of like heavy lifting, volume like crazy. Like I feel like you could never even get hurt in college from lifting. Like it was like impossible. You could just lift literally every single day, twice a day if you wanted to. NFL, like I told you, I started to maintain a lot of what I did in college, and then I kind of got roped into like the trap of like not lifting heavy, and you get a little scared about like getting hurt and things like that. I also had quite a few surgeries while I played, and then now is like just trying to do the things I did when I was young and athletic, and stay athletic and stay being able to pick heavy shit off the ground, lift heavy shit over my head, press it, pull it. I don't like, I'm married with a kid. Like I don't really, I guess I don't really focus on like how lean I am all the time. Like my diet is very simple. I just eat a lot of like lean meat and good carbs, and like I just don't eat any bullshit. And I would say other than that, yeah, it's like just trying to stick with the things that I know made me strong and in shape and kind of kept me young, and continue to do those things throughout my life for as long as I can, basically.
Absolutely. Scott, you obviously played in the NFL too. And I think maybe you got kind of roped into that trap as well. Like really quickly, Scott, just what was your experience training in college? And then what did you do in the NFL, at least initially? And then what do you do now?
It was a lot different. So in college, and we've talked about Yancey before, but incredible strength coach. Not only for his programming, but just his philosophy and his mindset, and instilling that in us. That really kind of what you talk about nowadays, Tanner. No excuses, get it done. And so that was very helpful to see that and be a part of that. I tried to just let all the weightlifting in college compound year over year. Then once I got to the NFL, kind of Andrew touched on it, you start worrying about staying on the field. All right. And then you start kind of getting in your head like, well, if I get hurt squatting, okay, these coaches, man, they're going to cut my ass like the same day I get hurt squatting. You know what I mean? So, and that's not to say you get hurt squatting per se, but man, the volume, the amount of volume during practice You know, it's so much. So the idea of squatting heavy with that, I don't know, just kind of got in my head a little bit. But um, Andrew touched on it too. It's like in the off season, most guys, they don't do any kind of weightlifting, almost none, you know, some guys, which is crazy to me because in the NFL, if you just continue to let the weights compound and let your strength compound year over year, like you do in college, well, that's going to set you up for success, you know? So
Yeah. I always think of
seeing
the guy
difference.
James Harrison. Everyone knows James Harrison, the linebacker, right? Like, dude, that was a strong motherfucker. He's like still in his like mid 40s. Do you guys ever watch? Do you follow him on Instagram?
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
still
He's like
see how
pushing.
that guy,
Did you see him push the sleds? And it's like there's not
dude,
enough.
it's like 1,000 pounds on it.
Yeah.
And he's still just mid 40s and still benching 405, you know, and he's
Nuts.
another one of those guys kind of similar to Andrew, like undrafted, probably a big chip on his shoulder, incredibly successful career. And I'm pretty sure that guy always trained hard, never really stopped, you know?
I don't think he
So,
knows how to not train hard. Like, I don't think there's a day where he goes into a gym and just fucks around. Like, it's probably
yeah.
he's full tilt, full sweat, beanie, loud music, chalk, like 400 milligrams at least of caffeine, and like just ripping it. Like, that's probably all he knows, just based on the way he looks.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
I always just thought it was interesting. And I wanted to hear John and Taylor's perspective on this too. But like, in my opinion, and I don't really know, but I feel like the epitome of strength conditioning, at least for me, was actually playing Division I college football. And like, Taylor, what would you agree to that? Like, when you were at your strongest and at your best, was it probably in the college football weight room?
When you're talking about like strength and like power output and just like overall athleticism and stuff, yeah, I would say that 100% was probably the most I trained. Like, because it's not just in the gym. You have practice, drills, conditioning, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, that was that's what showed me what elite athletes do, what truly builds athletes to the next level. All right. Because you've never been exposed to it. Right. And you hear stories or whatever. But for me, training wise, my prime, my highest output, and probably, to be fair, the most I ever enjoyed training. All right. Because when I went into the weight room, man, the weight room was like hard work, but I had an understanding of that's how you earn and prove that you should be there. And you kind of earn your right to step onto the field in that environment, not just by showing your work ethic, by developing the strength and, doing what you need to do. All right. I think it's hard to argue that there's a better training environment kind of anywhere in the world if you have a good culture, right? Because, and it's kind of a buzzword now, but culture is important. But our culture in the weight room when I was there was top notch, man. We loved being there and we worked hard.
well,
John,
and
what was it
and
like for you?
I mean, we called it university football up in Canada. I mean, 3 downs, 12 guys in the field. Things were a little different, but the one thing like that I've never experienced since is just, we had to train at 6 a.m. and it was 80, 85 guys in the weight room at once. Maybe they weren't all there, but like, where else do you get that? Right. And that's one of the things where it was just, and especially then testing day would come and it's just like, that's an energy that,
You can't match, you can't replicate.
and I think it's probably a reason why, the 3 of us, me, Tanner and Taylor, and we got together with a bunch of other dudes doing the CrossFit thing is to try and get back to something similar to that. But
I 100%
yeah, I mean,
agree.
I wasn't lifting as heavy then as, I did later, but still it was like it was awesome. And, yeah.
Yeah. I personally believe, I don't think I'd be friends with you, John, had you not played college football. I know for a fact I probably wouldn't be friends with you, Taylor, if you weren't American and you didn't play college football. So I met you in Korea and it was just like, I was, we're out of college. I didn't really have that, community of any dudes I could really like connect with and resonate with. But it's just interesting to me because I feel like I've almost gone full circle in my training career, where like I was at the top when I was in college, I was at my strongest. Then I got into CrossFit and I liked it. It was great. I trained hard, but I wasn't as strong when I was doing CrossFit as I was when I was in college. And I feel like I want to know if that was like the same experience for John. You're different because you got really strong after CrossFit and getting into weightlifting,
Yeah.
which would make sense. But Taylor, go ahead. Were you at your strongest when you were in college?
For sure. And this might sound bad, but I loved training and I guess just being around the boys and working hard more than I actually loved football. Right. So I loved taking the field on game day, in front of 85,000 people, right, and competing and working hard. But, I had a love for training, for lifting, for working out, like more so than football. So when I was done playing football, you miss the game and you miss the environment and you miss the accolades and stuff. But for me, I missed being around the boys, right? And I don't know if you watch podcasts or like Bussing with the Boys, dude, but having that bond and sharing those mornings and that struggle with the people that you're closest with and that you know best, man, that's what I truly miss. Like when the day came to hang them up. But, fortunately, I kind of chased that, getting into strength and conditioning at, Oregon State and Washington State and stuff. And that honestly was one of the best parts about, being in the strength and conditioning environment is being around the boys and watching people push themselves and grow and, bond together, man. And that again is why I gravitated towards John and Tanner and that environment of intense training, with the boys, man.
Dude,
and
it's like,
I don't know about you guys, like social media. I was in university from 2006 to 2009, 2010. I mean, I don't have a single bit of media from me training in university. I don't know if you guys do, but it's not like today, right?
dude, you don't even have Instagram, man. Dude, like, none of us even had Instagram when we were in college, did we?
Well, Facebook started in my first year, so
you had to have a university email for it, though.
Yeah.
Dude, I seriously wish we would have had like some footage of us getting after it, in the weight room, with Yancey. Like the only footage I actually have is actually of Scott. It was called the Night of the Iron Owl. I don't even know how I got the footage. I don't remember. But basically there was a video of Scott power cleaning 421. Scott, correct me. Did you miss the first one? And then you got so pissed off. And then like literally 2 seconds later, you just ripped it again and you just fucking horsed it.
Yeah.
That's the way I remember it.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. So then I was like, fuck it. And I just went right back down and just hit it.
Yeah. That's the only video that I actually have of us like training in college that I can actually remember. I don't even know why that was documented, but dude, I vividly remember Andrew cleaning 350. And dude, Andrew, you said 350 on your bench. I remember 360. That's what I remember, but I could be wrong. I mean, it was your fucking PR, so I don't know.
I just remember like I was like, man, like I don't even bench more than I clean, but then I was good at clean, so I guess it all made sense. But 350 is what I remember. But yeah,
right. I mean, either way, it was very respectable. I think we were all at one point very respectably strong. Kind of sucks now that we're in our late 30s. We're not as strong as we used to, but still trying to stay strong.
Sorry, Scott, go ahead.
Quick. I'll be quick. I just want to touch on, what Taylor said about working out with the boys, grinding, putting in hard work together. I've really appreciated working out with you guys in the mornings. Man, it's been amazing. So I agree with you there, Taylor. Man, like the camaraderie. And if you could create that now, with guys your age or like we're doing now, it's an incredible thing. So I appreciate y'all.
Dude, super badass. That's why I'm trying to get Taylor and John.
You were talking about like having a training partner, but what's even better than a training partner is 2 training partners.
Bro, it's the best. Like, I'm not even joking. I feel like I've almost manifested this in a way where I just like fucking want to train around, dude, my boys and just like get fucking strong. And I really want John and Taylor to move to America. That's what I really want. That'd be super cool. Probably not going to happen, but it still doesn't mean you can't want it. But I can just say for a fact, like the past 6 months since I moved to America and just like training with Andrew, it's been incredibly enjoyable for me. And I think we can both say we've actually gotten stronger just working out together just in the past 6 months.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And not because we're doing anything scientific or anything like that. It's like we're basically just going in there and just pushing each other and trying to keep up with each other. It's like just like it was back in the day when we were playing college football, which has been
And
really
one,
awesome.
one thing I'll add, for our kind of CrossFit careers is, as we say, train with the boys, we trained with some freak women as well. I will say that. There were a couple that, they were fit individuals. So just a shout out to them.
That was one good thing about training CrossFit. You did get to train around women. You never got to do that playing college football, really.
Exactly. One last question, for both Scott and Andrew. As you guys are older, more experienced, what would you do differently if you could go back to your careers training wise?
I would have never stopped training heavy. I would have just tried to continue to maintain that style throughout when it was when I was kind of getting roped into kind of your typical NFL workouts of like just kind of doing enough versus like really pushing yourself on the weight training side. And a lot of that comes with like sometimes you get injured or have a surgery, like you naturally have to take a couple months off. And but it's just funny because sometimes if you were just training hard, you would have never even had that injury. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. So you would have trained harder.
Yeah, I would have trained harder. Yeah.
Go ahead, Scott.
I agree. And then let that strength compound year over year. But honestly, I was just thinking, if I had just gotten more sleep and been more disciplined in my sleep to help me recover better instead of take all these supplements and, do all the rolling out, I'd spend if I'd spend like an hour rolling out every day, if I had just gone to bed an hour earlier, I would have been a lot better off, because guys in the NFL, they're not using steroids. All right. They're just trying to recover week to week. They're not trying to get stronger. They're not trying to get faster. It's all about recovery. I just wish I had credited or taken advantage of my sleep more during that time.
Yeah. Andrew got me to take sleep a lot more seriously, because you were always, Andrew, during the season, you were lived like a monk. Is that correct? You were extremely dialed in, disciplined, most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, there was a few times where, get a little
either a monk or some dude in Ibiza.
I'm an all or none guy. No, I think, definitely later in my career, for sure. I mean, I didn't even drink any alcohol in my last couple years. But kind of like what Scott was saying, just kind of dialing in your sleep and things. I always was just really big on not letting anybody or anything kind of get in the way of what I needed to do. Like you almost have to live a very selfish lifestyle to be successful in the NFL. Or shit, really, in a lot of things. But if family's coming to town, it's sorry, I can't go to dinner with you guys. I have to go get a massage, or I have to film to watch or whatever. Or they come in the night before the game and you have a little bit of time off, but it's going to throw off my schedule. It's well, I'll see you after the game. We can, do something then. But I think it was just not letting anybody, even, if there was a girl I was dating that didn't understand what training meant, they're oh, well, you can just work out at this gym. And I'm no, I can't just work out at any gym. This is very fucking detailed here. I need a field. I need someone to throw me the ball. I need all these things. And, I didn't let those people get in my way either of okay, if you don't understand the mission, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're
Cut them out.
We're going this way. So, I would say you lose a lot of friends, but you kind of can't necessarily stay close with as many people as you'd like to. And I think that's where you kind of make it up on the back end once you're done playing, of going to do all the shit that you couldn't do in the fall. Your fall every year since you were a kid is taken up with sports. And then you finally have one fall to yourself at 35 years old. You're finally free. you don't even know what the fuck to do. You're like, oh, this is what people do. And like in the real world, they literally have every weekend. They can just do whatever they want. I was like, holy shit. I didn't even know that was like a thing. I'm like, so you're telling me you can go drinking every weekend? And they're like, yeah, you can literally go out every weekend if you want. And I was like, I couldn't even understand that concept. I was like, oh shit, this is like this is kind of freeing a little bit, you know? But yeah.
It'd be a strange way, man. Strange way to live.
Yeah.
I always thought about like, dude, I'd be whatever training, and I'm like 33, 34, and I'm like, God damn, Andrew is still playing football. He still puts on a football helmet, straps up the pads, and like we've been out of college for, dude, 12, 14 years. We're like middle-aged adults, and I was like, this motherfucker is still playing. Like it never like ceased to kind of blow my mind. But
I've never had. Yeah, that's what, like in the summer, you know, I'd be back here in Austin, everyone's on the lake and doing all this stuff, and you know, they're like, hey, like come out on the lake or come do this, and I'd always say, okay, I'll go out on the lake and I'll come drink with all you guys, but you're gonna come do my workout tomorrow. Like that's the trade off. You won't
trade off.
Do your bullshit, you can come do my bullshit, and we'll see like who survives. But yeah, I think maybe even like high school guys that I would talk to, I'm like, do you remember that feeling when you go out for like a training camp practice or a 2-day practice and it's hot as fuck, you're putting your pads on, you're sore? I was like, I'm still doing that. Like I still have to go to camp. Like I still have to go fucking do training camp. So but I loved it, man. Training camp is sick. Like you're just kind of in your own world, just playing ball with the boys. Like, and I love football, so like fucking sign me up.
Dude, the rest is pretty much history. Like, you know, I don't know any other guy personally has played 12 years. I know Scott, I know James Casey. Those guys are incredibly successful, but dude, to make it 12 years is like, I don't know, I think a testament to your, honestly, just your level of discipline. And so,
And
one of those dudes,
probably
I think
use the word grit, right?
Oh, for sure.
Definitely.
Go ahead, Scott.
So we were talking this morning. I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have any good training camp stories or one good training camp story?
Yeah.
Like a fun story or like
anything you want to divulge, Andrew.
Dealer's choice.
Man, training camp stories. Well, so we would do training camp down at Minnesota State. So we would go down, it's like an hour south of Minneapolis. We would stay in these shitty dorm rooms as like multi-millionaire professional athletes, staying in a shitty ass dorm room. Like not even a bathroom in your room. Like you'd have to go down the hallway or you just pee in the sink. But I think the probably like, you know, the only time you really cut loose is like you would have like kind of these 2 really hard weeks, but the second of that 2 weeks was like 6 padded practices in a row. It was just like super grueling. And then you'd have like your big kind of family night, like everyone in the city would come out, almost do like a mock game type thing. And then we would go out and just drink every beer in the whole like city after that. Just like naturally, like you kind of had a couple of days off, but it was always kind of, it was fun because like even the coaches and the like staff, like, you know, scouts, GMs, whatever, like they're also all cutting loose because they've been going through rosters and different things. Like, so you're sitting there like drinking a beer with, you know, someone from marketing and then someone from like a scout that you see it every day at practice. You don't even know his name. And we all had bicycles. So we would just be in this little town, drinking all the beer, just fucking shit up, riding our bikes around. But I think probably the one like that kind of one night was like, I think me and one of my other teammates, we just like stayed out on the practice field, like drinking beer till like 4 a.m, 5 a.m. And then we like went in the dorm rooms and just like started just banging on everybody's doors, like waking everybody up. Cause we were like the vets on the team at that point. So we could like, you know, kind of
get away with it.
And like, even like the team security, they just like kind of escorted us through this chaos. Like they didn't even tell us to like go to bed or like, hey, you're waking everybody up. They were just like, all right, like we get it.
Yeah.
I think like some of those kind of like training camp moments of like, you're not really stressed out about the season yet. You're obviously like working hard and grinding, but then like you finally kind of get like this one sliver of like rewarding yourself to go out and do something. And then you lock back in. And some of those moments are like where you kind of get to have some more off the field bonding, which then kind of compounds into like you're on the field bond. You're like just a little bit closer. You celebrate a little bit harder with guys that you kind of have more off the field experience with and things. It just brings the team a little bit closer. But that's about as like, I don't know, probably detailed I'll go into any like training camp fun stories. But
Anything that we can probably keep like post and not have to. Yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah.
We got any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
I'm just thinking, you want to get to the client questions and we can start knocking these out.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, like maybe we could let Andrew answer a couple. Like you just give his unfiltered, honest opinions on what he would do, and then Andrew, you got to jump off, bro. If you got to jump off after an hour, bro, jump off. We'll handle everything else.
All right.
We got anything, John?
Yeah, we got a lot of questions. We'll start running through these. We don't have to spend too long on all of them. First one's going to come from our guy Terrence Smith over in Japan. He says knee sleeves. I know the topic's been repeated time and time again, but what size should I get? I recently tried on a pair of medium, couldn't get them over my calves. How snug should they be? That's a pretty easy one. Scott.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Or, I mean, look, you want them to be snug, keep you warm. They shouldn't be easy to get on. And give you a little bounce out of the bottom. So that's what
I
you
get
want.
size like small or medium personally, Taryn.
Well, and I was just gonna say the way you put them on is inside out and upside down, and then just roll them up. It should be that tight,
We should probably make a video and put that in the welcome package. How to put on your knee sleeves. It'd be a good idea. Anyways,
next question comes from Brian Offutt. And he says, Tanner and I talked on a consult call, and I think others may benefit. How long do you recommend resting between exercises when the exercises are supersetted?
Let Andrew answer that. We were talking about that this morning in a way. What do you think, Andrew? How long should people rest between sets of heavy working sets?
Fuck, whatever you need to get the damn weight off your chest or whatever it is. Like, I just wear a stopwatch during my workouts, and I just literally like start the clock in between, like right when I finish a set, I start the clock just to keep me on track and keep me to where I at least know that I'm not going into the next set too early or too late. Like sometimes, especially when you're with the boys, you can start kind of getting off track a little bit. But so this is like kind of my home base here. It keeps me like to where I know, okay, I need like 30 more seconds, or like, hey, like we've been fucking around too long, let's get back to work. But like
you gotta walk a fine line. You don't want to rest too long, but you need to rest long enough to where you can hit your weights.
Right. I think it's like it's a feel thing. Like for me, or depending on what I'm going for. Like for football, like we never had really longer than about 30 seconds before you had to go to the next place. So I kind of always stayed on that kind of tempo of like I should be able to go hard as fuck like for something, and then take 30 seconds, and I'm gonna have to go do it again because that's what I have to do in a game.
Yeah. But to answer Brian's question a little bit more specifically, just 2 to 3 minutes probably is a good amount of time to let yourself recover between like heavy working sets. What's the next question, John?
For Taylor, you mentioned on the console call that you drink a coffee where you put heavy cream and butter in the coffee. What did you call that, and what is the recipe?
I call it a fat white to replace the term of a flat white. But I'll take a cup because I'm pretty hood with how I make my coffee. So I make it with an AeroPress, right? So I basically put it in the AeroPress while it's brewing. I'll take a cup and I'll pour like finger of cream, finger of milk, and then just take a dollop of salted butter. I'll put it in the microwave. I'll froth that shit, and then I'll push that AeroPress into it, right? And then it's just a delicious buttery latte is what I call it. But that's pretty much what I'll have in the morning, and I won't eat until maybe about 12 o'clock after that.
All right.
Really quick, I think this would give everyone value. Really quickly, what's your guys' go-to pre-workout? Like, what do you take before your workout? Just like bang it out really quick. Scott, you first.
Any pre-workout, mix them up. Any kind of pre-workout.
All right. What about
like
you,
a pre-workout
Andrew?
powder?
Yeah. What are you taking before we work out, Andrew?
I'll hydrate first with some Braintree, and then I'll take about 2 scoops of some Gorilla Mind or Gorilla Mode.
Yep.
Forgot what it's called. I'll take some of that. I think it's well formulated.
Yeah, it's got some. Yeah, so electrolytes, caffeine. What about you, Taylor?
I just take a double espresso shot before I go into the gym.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Same,
John?
double espresso.
John, you'd be proud of me. I got hooked. I got this nice coffee machine and all these little gadgets. I take 2 double espressos. I take a sachet of brain water. And then usually when I get to the gym, I'm taking some kind of nicotine.
Oh,
There,
yeah.
it really have Scott and Andrew to thank on that. They gave me my nicotine addiction. But yeah, all right.
No, we
Next
gave it
question.
to
I just
you.
wanted to, yeah.
All right.
Next question.
Next question comes from Alessandro, and he says, Coaches, I feel stronger, and I just started several weeks ago. Thank you for that. That said, last podcast you mentioned 3-week waves. Can you explain what that is and why? Not sure if you can share that or not. I like the understanding of things. So I guess, because we did talk about doing like, say, the 3x8, 4x6, 5x5, cycling it. So he just wants you to explain what it is and why.
Do you want
Tanner,
me
I'll
to
let
do it,
you.
John?
Yeah, Tanner, you go ahead.
Taylor. All right, I'll do it really quickly. Basically, waves are great because they're gonna prolong you hitting a plateau. If you do straight linear progression and you just add weight every week, dude, you're gonna run into a wall because the weight's gonna catch you, and it will inevitably catch you. But if you pick like 3 different rep schemes that we do all the time, or you just use the same weight and you just try to get more reps, which is actually what me and Andrew and Scott are doing right now on our bench. You're going to prolong that plateau and you're still using progressive overload. So instead of adding weight every week, you'd add weight every 3 weeks or even every 4 weeks. And what that does, that just allows adequate time for your body to adapt to these heavier loads. And you will get stronger more sustainably and you'll avoid hitting those plateaus. I hope that answered that question.
Yeah.
Fair enough? Good enough?
Yeah.
And Alessandro's second question, he says, I normally consume creatine before my workout. Can't do caffeine. My sleep is hampered. When is the best time to consume creatine, before or after a workout or specific time of day? Does it matter, or just take the thing, whatever? I don't take creatine, so someone else.
Taylor,
Well,
Scott, Andrew.
Yeah, so any time. It really doesn't matter. Just in fact, taking it before workouts, that's a great strategy because you're tying it, you're anchoring, taking it with doing something. So man, just take it every day. Doesn't matter what time.
Exactly. And I personally take 10 grams a day. Okay. I think if you're a guy and you're fairly muscular and you're over 200 pounds, 10 grams, you're going to be way better off. If you're under 200 pounds, you can probably be fine taking 5 grams. But I think a lot of people, they would get more benefits if they actually took more creatine. So just something to remember.
Well, and we've had people. Oh, go ahead, Taylor.
No, I'm being under 200 pounds. I still take 10 grams a day, but I'll chase my creatine shot with coffee. So I'll just dump 5 grams in my mouth and chase it with the coffee before I work out. And then I'll have it another dose of 5 grams later with like dinner or next time I think about it, to be fair.
There you go. Andrew, how much creatine do you take?
There's a little bit in the pre-workout. I think I'm probably getting about 2 grams pre and then about 5 after. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen studies on before and after. I'm like, well, shit, I'll just take it both then.
Yeah, there you go,
Yeah.
man. There
But
you go.
we've had clients say like, they feel energized from taking creatine. That hasn't been my experience personally, but placebo is a powerful thing. And so if you feel energized taking the creatine, then you might as well take it before your workouts.
Yeah.
In
Go ahead, Taylor.
that same vein for Scott, I can't remember who said it, and it might have been one of you guys, and it might have been a podcast someone I was listening to, but they talked about after a night of shitty sleep, how like a mega dose of creatine can help you feel better. And I will say that I've done that about 3 times after like literally nights of 3 to 4 hours of sleep. And I have noticed at least a cognitive difference that it helps, exponentially after a shitty night of sleep like that. So it is kind of a hack to do a mega dose like that.
Yeah. Dude, really quickly before we go to the next question, Andrew, can you tell everybody what you do right now that you're not in the NFL? What are you doing right now with Braintree? What's special about Braintree? What makes it different?
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Usually when people ask me what I do, I just say, I do my best.
There you go.
Braintree Nutrition, we're helping people improve their cognitive health and performance. So our current product right now is a functional hydration product, stick pack product with nootropics, some adaptogens, and kind of full spectrum electrolytes. And then I have a bunch of really cool, innovative capsule products and powder products like All in Q. So really just continuing to like research, study what I can do to help my own brain from years of repetitive head trauma, TBI concussions, but just kind of being more proactive with cognitive health and performance because everything stems from the brain. That's the command center. Without it, you can't do shit. So,
Yeah. And where can people get Braintree?
you can go to our website at braintreenutrition.com. You can go find us on Amazon, depending on what country you're in. I know you guys are kind of worldwide. So, but yeah, just go search for Braintree Nutrition.
Yeah.
We'll,
So I just want to
we'll
make sure we
put a link
in
in the bio.
Yeah. And I'll just say this, like I have a supplement sponsor and I use Transparent Labs, but I go out of my way to get Braintree because I honestly think it's like the best hydration and nootropic product I've ever used. And I'm not just saying that because Andrew's my friend. All right. I genuinely love it and I use it every day. So if you guys are ever wanting to try some really good hydration and nootropic, supplements, make sure you guys check out Braintree. All right.
And the
Sorry, I
flavoring
just
is the best too.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. The freaking, the flavors they're delicious too. All right.
We
They're
talked
really
about
good.
the fact we're looking for someone to sponsor our podcast. Next
We
question.
could probably work something out. We could probably work
Transparent
something out.
Labs, they got a bigger budget.
Carl Hailmano. He says, first, how tight should a lifting belt be? We've talked about this, but Carl, you basically want to be able to get about one finger in there.
Yeah.
Carl
Like,
just
sorry,
joined
one
us.
finger between the belt and your waist, Carl. That's what John means. I mean, putting one finger in where could be interpreted a few different ways. John, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tight enough to
anyways.
just get one finger in there.
Yeah.
And then
All
he
right.
says, is throwing open the latch on a belt as cool as you make it look? Not going to lie, I'm getting one just so I can do that latch throw after a lift. So that's
He's
that's
talking
what
about the lever belt. The
yeah,
lever
where he
belt.
pops it
Yes.
open. All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
Um,
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I
This
don't know
next
if Tanner
question.
I don't know if Tanner has the best post lift habits.
I don't even know either, dude.
Not when
I don't know.
deadlifting, anyway.
Not when deadlifting.
Oh yeah, that's it. Don't slam the bar and break your ankle, Carl. All right, don't do that. All right.
All right, Andrew, this question is going to be for you. It comes from a guy named Caleb Curry. He's the captain of a fire station in Oregon. And he says, I've been sprinting in Chuck Taylors. Do you have a recommendation for shoes for sprints, plyo, including lateral movements? I do speed and agility on whatever surface is available, turf, track, or asphalt. So,
Man, I've been basically married to my Nike Pegasus 41s, probably more of a traditional running shoe. Like, I don't know about changing direction in those, but I lift in those, I run on the track in those, I sprint in those. They kind of just they like overall shoe for me. I've also had like quite a few ankle surgeries, so I've had to kind of go through and like find the one that works for me. But like that's part of it. It's just like almost sampling through which shoe feels the best. Like your feet, your ankles don't get all janky with them, but that's what I currently use.
Yeah, Air Pegasus.
I
I'll just tell
second
Caleb.
that.
Yeah,
The
I would just
Pegasus.
tell Caleb use any shoes other than Chuck Taylors for sprinting.
actually, I do have a follow. Tanner, I've noticed you've been squatting on plates in running shoes. Any reason for that?
Yeah, it's because I don't have my fucking lifting shoes, and
Are
I'm
they in
too
Dubai?
cheap. I'm too cheap to order another pair of lifting shoes for like $250. So I got like some basic cross training shoes. And because I've had ankle surgeries too, I don't have the best ankle mobility. So I put the plates under my heels like I tell beginner clients to do. I tell beginner clients to buy lifting shoes, and I don't even take my own advice. I have to buy another pair. But Caleb, that's why I put the heels under my plates so I have better ankle mobility and I can get deeper into the squat more comfortably. And that does work, but I do think getting a good solid pair of lifting shoes is a worthwhile investment for everybody.
Okay, and Caleb's, he's got one more question. On his sprint starts, should I stay with the same foot forward or alternate back and forth? Andrew Scott, curious.
Alternate.
Yeah, I'll give this a little quick side story. I've ran at the track a few times with Andrew, quite a few times. And you know how you always run counterclockwise around a track? Yeah, that's just what you kind of do. It's what they do it. Whenever you run, if you ever go run with Andrew, if anyone ever does, he's going to make you run the opposite way just so you're evening things out. So I definitely think alternate your feet, train both ways all the time.
Are you talking about 200s? 200s?
Yeah. Yeah.
That bend. Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Anyways,
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, there's still a bunch. Aiden,
Andrew, I don't want to keep you too long, bro. If you gotta bolt or run, dude, we really appreciate your time. If you want to stick around and help us answer questions, by all means, but don't feel like you're obligated.
Yeah, no, I'm good, man.
we got
Okay,
about,
cool.
I'd say 10 minutes, and if that.
All right.
Aiden asked the question, in order to keep progressing, what is the biggest shift that a guy will need to make as he moves from his 20s into his 30s? So to keep progressing from your 20s into your 30s. I mean,
That's
I'll
a
go
great
ahead,
question.
Aiden, and probably
Great
say
question.
you need to rest more. You know, you can't train the same in your 30s as you did in your 20s. You do not recover as quickly as much as, we want to think we can. You simply can't. That's my answer.
That's a great answer, and I'll just want to second that. But I would still say don't really change how you train and still train hard. You just can't do it as often. Like that's the big caveat that John's saying. Like I don't know, I've noticed it just since I've been, we're all in our late 30s now. Dude, I still train hard. I still lift heavy. I'm just not doing it every day, or maybe not as much volume as maybe we did, whatever 15 years ago. Anyone else got anything to add to that?
Yeah, we had a strength coach that he would always say, like, man, when you're feeling it and you feel good, like that's when you go hit it. But you don't necessarily have to do that all the time. He would always say dose it. So like, if it was you were feeling it that day, like go ahead and load up and do it, but you're not going to be able to do that every day. So but you do need to take advantage of the times when you're feeling froggy.
Yeah, 100%. Taylor,
But then
Scott,
as you get older, you feel froggy a lot more, right? And so you got to
or
push through
less,
that a lot
you
of
mean
the time.
less often?
Yeah, like as you get older, you're probably not gonna feel great all the time, but those days you do is like when you really want to go dose it and go
Yeah.
load up, and like basically taking advantage of those days where you got a lot of juice behind you, like let's go.
Yeah, you feel it. And that's
Yeah.
just training. It's like intuition. And what do they call that? Like auto regulation.
Bro,
That's another thing.
you just know, like you start picking the shit up, you're like, oh, this feels pretty light today. Then that's
Today.
you go rip it.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, and you guys have very young children right now. And so if your sleep's good, that's when you're feeling froggy pretty much at this point, right? But I would agree with what John said, the recovery. In your 20s, you can get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, hit it hard. Also, I don't remember taking that many deloads in college. And like this morning, we were already talking about like, when's our next deload? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I feel like we have not a bad habit, but it's like, do we get in there and we're like lifting heavy every single workout? And I'm just like, man, I don't know if I can do this every freaking week, Anyways, question, John?
Yeah, this next one comes from Scott Staines, and he says, should I weigh myself regularly? And if so, how regularly?
Ooh.
Probably like either not at all or do it consistently. One or the other.
I mean,
I look at myself every Monday morning, like I don't really care what it says. It's just more for my own personal kind of info and a little bit of data points on, okay, how did I eat? Like, how did I hydrate? How did I rest this weekend? And kind of tracking that. But I don't like look into what the scale says, as far as like kind of over analyzing it. I just kind of like to keep those data points. And then I can kind of look over the course of the last, 6 months of like, okay, I'm very, very consistent. I'm in between these kind of weight ranges.
What is your weight range, Andrew? Generally, where do you like to stay between?
Well, let me pull it up in my notes. Like I got it right here.
There you did. There you go.
In the weight. I'm anywhere from 210 to 215, but the last 3 weeks I've been 212.8, 211, 211.8. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So to answer Scott Stain's question, okay, I would definitely check your weight at least weekly. I sometimes do it daily, especially if I'm trying to lean out a bit. So Scott Stains, the more information you have, I think the better decisions you can make when it comes to nutrition.
But, and also just like Andrew kind of said, same time, don't weigh yourself, first thing in the morning and then 2 days later after 3 full meals before, so just try and keep at least the
precisely,
time and kind of what you've consumed pretty consistent.
No, you
Absolutely.
literally put it on the calendar, like as a little like deal, like weigh in. So it's just that's just kind of what we did in the NFL too. Like every Friday you weigh in, so like it's just kind of part of it. Put it on the calendar, on there. You get a reminder, go weigh in, jump on the scale, done.
I would
Well,
say
and
for
that's-
anyone listening who's a custom client of ours, every time you do a progress picture, you should definitely be weighing yourself.
Right. And I
just
was
an
going to
easy
touch on
one right
that. So when I was saying like not at all, I was saying like just do it consistently, same time of day. So that way you have those data points to measure on. But yeah, if you're a client and we're asking you to track your weight, you should do it. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep. Scott Stains, check your weight. Specifically, I know you, Scott, check your weight.
Next one comes from Paul, and he says, "At what point does cardio hinder muscle growth?"
Andrew, you want to talk about high rocks or any of that stuff? You could go into that real quick.
You know,
When does cardio hinder muscle growth?
Andrew loves high
Always.
rocks, I heard.
cardio. I don't even think about like I've never even referred to it as cardio. Like I guess that's where I just don't even I've always looked at it as like I'm either gonna sprint or I'm gonna run until I get like really fucking tired. It's usually like kind of speed endurance. I don't even think I could run further than a mile at a time. Like I don't know. I don't really I just kind of have these benchmarks where like I need to be able to hit this running workout. I need to be able to hit this time. Like I need to be able to feel like I can open up a little bit and sprint. But and if I am doing a workout and I'm starting to get out of breath, like okay, maybe I need to work on some more conditioning. But I guess I don't know. I'm still getting strong and I'm still doing conditioning, so I guess I just don't really think about it.
There you go. Taylor, John, repeat that question. Taylor, I want you to chime in. What was the question
yes,
again, John?
at
When
what point does
impede?
cardio hinder muscle growth?
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever going to be truly beneficial to muscle growth in general, because it's not what it's really kind of built around, right? The demand is completely different, all right? So if your focus is truly building as much muscle mass as you can, then I wouldn't really focus on cardio in any way, shape, or form for the most part, right? I think there's a point to where it won't, be detrimental to your muscle growth. Like if you decide to incorporate like a 5K or some tempo training, like, with a 30-minute session each week, then I don't think that's going to negatively impact your muscle gain. But for the most part, I don't think endurance training or cardio is going to be conducive to building muscle mass or strength in general.
Dude, you should just not say I think. You should just stay as a matter of fact, because that's the truth. Okay. So just remember, for anyone listening, cardio and strength training, those are completely opposite ends of the spectrum. You're sending your body two opposite signals. And so they do kind of work against each other. It's really good, in my opinion, to have like a balance of both. And I personally believe you need to have like an 80 to 90%, 80 to 20% ratio of strength training to cardio, or even 90-10. Strength's really the platform that everything's built upon. You can just throw in some cardio just to kind of sprinkle it in.
And that's
And
coming
you're
from
probably gonna
somebody who does way more cardio than any of these other coaches. All right. Because endurance
That's
training is
a
part of my
fact.
training more so than any of
Yeah.
y'all fucking
Yeah,
thick daddy
I'll-
motherfuckers.
Yeah, I've done a lot of cardio and conditioning, but I'm telling you, nothing is more important than strength. So we'll just leave it at that.
And the other thing I'll just, add to that is like, if you are doing more cardio, which some people, they enjoy it or they play sports, you got to make sure then you are increasing calories to account for that, because if you're not and you're just adding cardio, then you are going to lose muscle, right? So you do need to add
100%.
calories just to make up for the extra calories burned with it. So,
Well, it's a good reason to join the program. All right, you join the program. We will program you the exact specific conditioning you should do to continue increasing strength and muscle. How about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I used to do way more cardio than I do now, but I genuinely enjoy my training way more now. If you do enough cardio, you get you're out of breath, you're healthy, dude, that's really probably as much as you need to do. Okay. As long as you're not really overweight or unhealthy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
No, that's it for questions. I was just going to add, is if you're out of breath, at the end of a set of 8 or something like that, you probably got to work on some conditioning. So,
Yeah. Or if you struggle to walk up, 2 flights of stairs and that's like a real struggle, then dude, you're out of shape and you need to do something about that.
right.
Okay. So anyways,
Well, look,
John, are we good?
Yeah, I want to say a huge thank you, Andrew. I really enjoyed it, and
Dude.
it's a pleasure to kind of meet you, virtually at least.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's
Yeah.
good chatting with the boys. Good meeting y'all.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of guys that like lifting weights and working out. Just talking about lifting weights and working out. Like,
Wow.
what a great way
That's
to spend
great.
an hour of your day. Like,
Dude, we do it
For
once
sure.
a week, and I love these podcasts. I'm really happy John made me start doing them. It's been, and we get so many more questions too, bro. It's been so good.
I
So
like
Andrew, thank you very much,
Q&A
man.
stuff, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it's good. You get those every week, man.
Yeah.
So we'll have to have you as a guest on if you ever want to come
Where
back
can I
on.
submit questions?
Oh,
Do I have to join your program?
I'll send you the link, man. I'll send you the link.
I'm gonna fucking light y'all's ass up with some questions.
Yeah,
I
that'd
can't
be
wait.
good. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, everyone have a good rest of the week, and for everyone listening, please train hard and lift heavy. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
Appreciate you.
Don't leave yet.